That's the other producer.
Yep.
Producer G. For the ground, good morning.
All right, so how do you feel about airplane food?
I'm Glenn, and my levels are spiking. We were preparing for the
Trying to
double.
steal the show over here. Oh my goodness.
I worked at the Double Deuce for 2 years. Got fired.
We're drinking Duct Tape Julio.
Oof. Probably my favorite tequila.
I guess we're good, man.
How's it feel being a Texan resident?
Can we get a quick one?
Pour me up. It does. You know what?
Get you a little something, man.
Yeah, come on. You know you like that.
As much as I'm not a nice guy for anything, the drink sounds way better when you get the. What are those videos?
The people at ASMR.
Yeah. Faggots, you both knew it.
Cheers.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers. Thank you.
It's your alcohol.
Yeah, I was saying that to myself. Thank you, Glenn.
So, my man's been here for 8 days. Got the Texas shirt, hat, belt buckle.
You would never tell. It's only been 8 days.
8 days is a long time.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it. You think you've been here for like 10 years. You were raised here. Friday Night Lights, your favorite movie ever.
I was actually a double. So one of the fans that just cared too much. You know that's in Odessa, Texas, by the way.
Is
got
it?
A little lesson on that.
I saw Midland, and I thought of that one part. He said, "Oh, you from Midland, right?" With the doctor, Booby Miles.
You know, I never actually watched the movie.
You never watched it?
Never seen it.
I bet you're going to get it on DVD now.
Movie.
DVD.
Yeah. That's hilarious. So what you been up to, man? Other than all this?
Oh.
Let's catch up with you, man.
Yeah,
How you been? You got a new Ireland tattoo.
Yep, I threw that on.
Yeah.
Just overall wellness. And,
I'm gonna get it in my ass.
What?
I'm gonna get that on my ass.
Oh shit! I thought you said in your ass.
Yeah, you said
it.
it. He did say
inside
it.
I think you did
asshole.
say in your ass.
Peg, rewind that.
And,
I'm gonna get it in my ass.
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 Is that your producer?
Peg Slacker, yeah.
Peg?
Yeah, that's my boy Peg.
Peg.
Yeah, he's the one that makes it all happen. He's the magic behind it all, actually. We're just kind of...
He doesn't get a beer or anything?
Nah, he's on the job.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Because when I was with the Fragmites, shout out Fragmites, Vinny, and Luke, yep. Their producer, Aaron, was always there. We treated him like shit, but
Yeah.
I mean...
You have to. You
Yeah.
got to keep him in line, man.
Yeah, they're freelance anyway, so it's
Yeah.
like...
I was looking on my Instagram, and I have a picture of us doing the podcast at my house when me, you, and Vinny first tried it out. And I think it was like a little bit over 2 years ago, and it's just awesome. Like
2 years?
Yeah,
it was definitely more than that.
Oh yeah, I was in shit.
The Kumite, when that first started?
Yeah, it was a long time.
That had to be 4 to 5.
Yeah, because I was in North Bergen. I
had a talk with Vinny about that, and I was like, dude, like, because one of the episodes we were talking, like, saying, I was saying, like, oh, podcasting has to make you accountable for what you say, because then people, I mean, you're a nurse, right?
You.
Sure.
Yeah. And, I mean, you're validated because you got people coming to seminars. You're speaking at seminars. And we'll touch into that because you came fresh off
We'll wait for
that.
the big guy.
Yeah. But one of my questions for Vinny was, do you think that doing this, makes you accountable, makes you a better person?
Gotcha.
And we went, like, back to when we first started, and it was like, we were just kind of like young kids, like,
talking about
bullshit.
Stories.
Yeah, stories, thinking like, you're kind of doing tabletop stories, and but as it goes on, you start really, you're accountable for shit, know. So
you have hard documented proof that you said something or you believe in something a certain way. You said that you wanted this. It's like
and somebody and one of your listeners is like, dude, I mean, I use this example in my podcast. I was like, oh, I always wear my seatbelt, and I do.
Right.
And it was like, I always thought every time I got in the car now, it was a good reminder to me because I always put my seatbelt on thinking like, hey, I said it.
Right.
If somebody sees me not wearing my seatbelt, they're like, oh, this guy's a liar.
No, that's true.
That podcast is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, where's my credibility?
It's like true. Video documentation, and that's what's so cool about it is like you have a pinpoint of where you can go back. Like, oh, what the hell was I thinking January 2 years ago? Like, you have like an exact place of, you know, because we evolve and we think our ideas and opinions change, but you could see where you were at that one point and like, you know, how you've grown. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think it's good. And at the same time, it's like because your consciousness and your ego, like, I mean, mostly ego. I mean, I think the ego thinks it's bad because he's like, damn, you can't be bullshitting people, right. And then the consciousness is like, all right, you always have to be alive because there's sometimes you go into airplane mode in your life and you're just like, I'm scanning through, I'm just gonna do this until I reach, you know, that time.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do with Stop the Ship is like, you know, I tell him all the time, like, we need to just open up about, you know, our insecurities and our, like, things that we're afraid of and doubts that we have. Because everybody can relate to that. That's something that everybody goes through on a daily basis, especially if it's something that, like, you know, you're putting yourself out there. If it's something that you believe in, there's always going to be a little doubt like, oh, well, why would they listen to me or what makes me so special? But that's that ego. That's that background noise. It's not real.
I think what you're saying, too, is you also have to make it to where somebody forgets about that, too. So you, like, bring it up, whatever the insecurity may be.
Exactly.
And then an instance, you know, like where they forget it, where it's funny.
Exactly. So like, and we've always kind of done that too. Like, laugh at your pain. Mm-hmm. Like the darkest times in your life, there's a lot of funny shit. Yeah, there's a lot of funny shit in there. And to be able to have that just makes you like be more okay with those things, and they're not like something that you have to block out. It's not like taboo.
Which you shouldn't. I think that. No. You know, when I was listening to your episode, and you were saying that, you know, your hard work, it should go to something down the line. So I was reading a book where the guy says that's, and I'm not saying you do this, but it's what we do to think that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but you're missing out on all the moments in between because you're looking at this end result as a means to an end, but it's never going to end. You know, like, you have to appreciate that moment right then and there. And I feel like as human beings, it's the hardest thing to do.
It's really hard, yeah.
But, like, you look at anything else, anything in the natural world, you know, fucking animal. Sorry for cursing. We curse on this?
Cuss it up, man.
Curse it up. Fuck.
Friggig.
Those friggin' animals.
It's this frigging animal. But anything in the natural world, like, they have to live moment to moment. And I think it's like, you know, and this has been discussed so many times where people say, you know, we don't have that struggle anymore where, you know, you got to defend against, you know, some type of species. You're defending against your mental state or another person saying, like, judging you. Yeah. So
you create those things now that you don't have that. You create your own battles, your own invaders.
Yeah, and to tie it up, it's like you have to be in the now. Because the now is literally the only fucking thing you got. Yeah. It's the only thing you're ever going to have. Yeah. And we think like, oh, like, look, I got rug in my house. Like, that ain't yours, dude. Right. You die, that's gone. Like, this ain't my shit at all. I'm here. I'm taking up space for a little bit.
I'm temporarily possessing these things. Yeah.
Until some other dude's like, oh, you know, this is my rug. I'm going to tear it up.
Comes
Duct
in.
Tape Julio. That's a great name.
Shout out to Duct Tape Julio.
This ad is brought to you by...
Yo, one day we're going to have some sponsors, bro.
That'd be sick.
It's going to happen.
Manifested into reality.
Yeah.
So, my question to you was, I know you're a public speaker. Obviously, you're a fucking great nurse and all that.
Appreciate it.
Me and him been talking comedy for years. You've also, when you came around, we would talk comedy and like do stuff. Have you ever had aspirations of like getting on stage and doing a bit?
Well, that's funny. That's funny you say that. I was thinking about that like a week or two ago. I've always enjoyed like the writing process of making a song or what have you. I've always enjoyed whatever kind of creative outlet that there might be, and I've loved comedy. I've never really thought like, you know, I could get up there and do that. It's just never even been a thought that's crossed my mind. But Yeah, I think it would be dope because I think I'm pretty good at writing, and I think that if it was a performance, which it is, then I could probably write it with the timing appropriately to try and get some laughs.
Wrote a couple jokes
But
into your speech.
the biggest thing is that could I fucking get up there and perform it and do it with with the nerves and everything? I don't know about that.
I mean, you just did a seminar.
But public speaking is one thing, right? Like I'm trying to provide inspiration. But on that hand, like you're trying to fucking make people laugh, and it's like, yo, if you wrote some shit and you're like, dude, this is gonna be funny, and you get up there and it, like you don't get any reaction. It's like, I feel like that kind of thing would like mentally fuck with me. It's like, well, then it might throw my train of thought off. Like I don't remember the next joke. What am I even doing up here?
The hardest part, I think, for a comedian is to have the comfortability on stage to be himself. Once that's mastered, then they're fine.
Yeah.
Like, but it's getting to that point that's the hardest, and that's the struggle of a comedian, is to have that comfortability on stage to where if something goes wrong or goes a little awry, you get a laugh at something that you didn't expect to come.
Momentum.
And I guess that's probably just through repeated, just doing it over and over. Yeah, like he said, though, you're going to get up there and you're going to bomb, right? Like, it's just going to fucking happen. But, yeah, as you continue to do it, continue to refine that process, the better you get, the better the timing will get, all that shit. You see how people react to your jokes. Do they dig that one? No. Let's scrap that. Yeah. They really like that shit, though. Let me keep that.
And that's where the ego plays in, I feel like, because you took, let's just say, for example, you took like 2 weeks to write this thing down. And you're sitting in your room, whatever you're doing, you got like, all right, this bit's going to work. This one's not going to work so much. Like, you kind of know. It's, the wave. And then you go there, and the one you thought was going to work doesn't work. Yeah. Now your ego's thinking, man, like, I fucking suck. Because this was the one I thought, and it's like, you also have to balance yourself with that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
it's got to be a struggle. I've never done it. I've never really had like the urge to do it, but
pussy. What?
No, I just
come again.
I love stand up comedy.
I feel like you'd be good at it. If you, and then like I know how you are, so like I feel like you'd if you had a set.
If I sat down and wrote, no, I'm sure it would probably be something that was fun, and I would never rule anything out. I would be open to it. There was times where like I wasn't. But yeah, I would be open to it. I mean, the goal for this is to like one day if we could ever do like a live podcast, and that would be stand up comedy. You know, like
there's you ever heard of? I mean, Vinny put me on to this. It's a shout out Fragmites again, but he put me on to Army of Skanks. They're all from New Jersey.
I've heard of it.
And the guy, I don't even know his name, but he's from New Jersey. Whatever. They do that. They have sit-in live podcasts, and also the dude Anthony Cumia, like they have people who come in, and you're literally chalking it up, and people are laughing, and then you could like interview people.
And that's a performance. They have another show. It's one of the biggest live podcasts. It's called Kill Tony, and so it's
shout out Tony.
It's Tony Hinchcliffe and Red Band, the guy who helped Joe create the Joe Rogan Experience, and they're on stage and they pick the names out of a hat of the audience members, and most of them are stand-up comedians, or some people never done it before. They pick it out, and that person gets a minute to do stand-up, and then they do a little interview process after that, and it's funny as hell.
It's
called Kill Tony, and Ronnie put me onto that. He's a huge fan of it, and I told him like, because he has that where he wants to be a stand-up comedian, but he doesn't always have the drive and everything to do it. But I've seen him on stage and I've heard him write, and he does have something there. So
plus he's Jewish. The music industry,
dude, and that's a real thing. Not the music industry.
I said the music industry, right?
Yeah. But
who's wrong?
So
right?
I told
tomatoes.
So they're coming to New York, and I told Ronnie like, because he's the one that brought it to me. I'm like, you have to go there. You have to put your name into the bucket. Yeah, there's a big chance that they're not going to pick out your name. But look, on that show, when you bomb, it's good because the crowd, that's what they come there for. It's all new comedians.
They'll still search your name after
and what's
that.
And they plug
everything.
Whether you bomb
or not, you'll still get searched, which is good or bad, you know. The old
And
saying.
what would be the greatest thing was the interview process after that. Imagine Ronnie, like, because they roast them, like, as they're interviewing them. Dude, Ronnie would be perfect for that, like, because we've done that with him. Like, the second he
you
would,
want to
like,
kick his ass, but he makes you laugh. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like,
and,
you're
like,
like,
he's-
oh, I want to fucking punch you, but don't make me. And he makes you laugh, and then you're like, all right, you're all right. For me now.
So I hope that he hears.
You feel
this.
the same way about
Shout
him?
out to Ronnie.
Shout out, Ron.
I
No, I
hope
don't
that
think I've
he
been around
hears
that long.
this and watches it, and you know, I really want him to go after that. And he put me onto that show. I watch it all the time. They tour all over America, and they just do.
Do you work
stand-up.
for them, by the way? 'Cause
No,
you're
it's
really
just
right.
it's just a cool podcast.
I'm like,
It's the best podcast around.
the best.
Hey.
I've never seen a better podcast.
In all of existence. Ronnie Glenn was saying something earlier. He said that you got to just start saying yes to things. Think about it. Think about it.
Yeah, you definitely can.
Go on, kill Tony.
That's important to, like you said, just put yourself out there and like stop just being so shelled up to things that are foreign to you and just being like, no, that's stupid, or no, that doesn't
It's
make
tough,
any sense.
though.
It's
It's
tough,
tough.
but that's the ego too that you're talking about.
Yeah, 100%.
If you could push past something that you just have this preconceived notion of, but based off no real information, maybe based off something your parents said when you were young or a friend said.
Yeah, and you struggle to get past that because you think that's you. Like, you think that's concrete evidence. You project that like the rest of the world knows that. You know, if my mom said it, my dad said it,
Right.
or somebody close to me said it, I'm putting that on my backpack, and when I show up, that's what somebody's gonna see. You know?
Right.
And that's what me and Brad have been talking about, is like, you think that's you. You think that's your thoughts, but those were thoughts that were imprinted in you. It's like
It's a thought.
yeah, but it's not
It's
even
not
your
a
own
physical.
Yeah.
It's not. It's literally not a. It's not a brick. That's what we do. We carry it around like it's a brick, and then when we show up to somebody's house, it's like, all right, I'm dropping this here. You could see it, I could see it, but it's not real.
Yeah.
It's
You know?
a perfect analogy. Like, it's like you have a backpack full of those bricks. And the more you could, like, get rid of them, the less weight you carry around, and the more open you are to saying yes to something that you were against your whole life.
And
maybe.
that translates
Absolutely.
into what we were saying about living in the now. When you're in the now,
Exactly.
you don't even remember what was back then, because now it's, you know, and I mean, this may be fucked up or whatever, but
Say it.
now that I come down here, and I've been around, you know, my wife and us were like meeting new people and stuff, and they ask me what I do, and like I just lie to them.
Really?
Like, I've told people I was part of the FBI.
Oh yeah.
They're like, "Oh, what you come down here for?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm actually part of the government."
Can't
Like,
really talk about
yeah,
it too
yeah.
much.
It's funny because that's like I'm working on being like a comedian almost,
Yeah.
but I'm also like, it's funny because at the end of the night, like if I like just say like the other night we were at a bar and like I told the guy I was an FBI agent.
Really?
He bit into it the whole night, and we started drinking, having a good time. And at the end of it, I was like, "Listen, dude," I was like, "I'm lying to you," and he was like, "Oh," he said we had a good time, but like,
funny.
you know, like you can be
That's fucking great.
who you want to be. Like you can, even if you lie, but it's funny. Like,
Right.
I mean, it's kind of fucked up.
That's that.
but-
That's that Theo shit though. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
it
so
is.
random and like always just throwing the
He's
craziest
funny.
shit out there.
I would love to see if you could break down like his thought process. Like,
It's probably so
We were
sporadic.
watching it on the way over here, and like it's a picture of three women, and he's like, "Oh, the second one to the right." Instead of just everybody in
just
the
saying
world
the
would
girl
say
in
the
the
girl
middle.
in the middle.
Yeah.
But the way his brain is, like he
It's-
just comes up with that. Oh, the second one to the right.
You watch It's Always Sunny too?
I've dabbled. I've seen enough episodes.
Have you seen the one where fucking they get the jobs in the mailroom or whatever?
Oh,
You
and
know how-
he's like, ah!
and you know how he's got like all the connected string. That's got to be how Theo's mind is, bro. At all times, like a million different connecting dots. Like
Yeah.
he's so sporadic, dude. He's such a random guy.
Yeah, shout out Theo Vaughn too.
Shout out to
I
Theo,
seen
bro.
you in Addison, Texas.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
On my birthday. You were
Yeah.
probably geeked. I know you're struggling with things. Everybody is, but it was good to see you, and it was a good show. I actually, when I went there, me and my wife went early.
Shout out G.
Shout out G, producer G, producer, sure.
The producer.
And I thought I seen him because we were going up, and there was a couple cigarettes. There was a couple comedians smoking cigarettes, and I'm like, dude, I thought I seen him. I seen a mullet, whatever, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm walking out there. I walk out there. It was one of the comedians, but it wasn't him.
Rocking
And
a mullet also?
Yeah, he had a mullet.
Jeez.
So I'm like talking to them, and I'm thinking, oh, Theo's gonna come out. Maybe he'll smoke a cigarette. I'm like, maybe he'll smoke some weed. You know, like maybe we'll just wind up in a bar later, like hanging out. That's also gay too. Like, oh. But so I was just chalking it up with the comedians, and at first I didn't know who they were, because I thought it was Theo. It wasn't him. And long story short, then I go to sit down, and she's like, "Where were you?" I was like, "Oh, I was just outside, like talking to these dudes."
Right.
And we were laughing. They were making me laugh. I was making them laugh. And then all of a sudden, the guy who was just making laugh like goes on the stage, and I'm like,
damn,
this ain't so serious. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's like this crazy thing. It's just like,
that's true.
you
That's
gotta
true.
just be real.
Yeah, we all have that thing in our mind. It's just that shit that we build up, that we manifest in our own mind, that holds us back from pursuing whatever. But no, that's true. Actually, I felt that way before I got on stage, and we can save this for later. But I felt that same way when I got on stage. But before I got on stage, this was like 5 minutes before I'm going on. One of my subscribers like started talking to me, telling me how my videos helped, and like just talking to people. It's like, dude, these are just people that I'm having to talk to, and I'm sure it kind of correlates over to comedy too. It's like these are just fucking people who want to come out and have a good time.
It was so cool to like just see these things in people. Like, so these people were coming up to Brad, and they see him as this person who's like accomplished these things, and they think like he's this great like human that they could never be like. Or
Whoa. So what, he isn't?
They don't know he's just a piece of shit.
This is what I've kept saying, and I don't mean it in the sense of, but we're all the same.
Yeah.
But so I saw it in that aspect of they look to him like, oh, I can only hope one day to be something like that. When in reality, he's just a regular person. And he had somebody, the owner of NSRNG, he thought of
What's
him,
that? Can you just break that down?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's NRSNG. It's like nursing without the vowels. It's just it's an educational company.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And they're the ones who flew us out to have this talk. They hosted this whole event.
So the way he thought of the owner is the way that the guy thought of him. So I got to see this dynamic where like, and then he got to know him and then realized that, he's just a regular person too. And we had a podcast with that guy, and he opened up about
with the boss, the
depression, and all that stuff. And then you just start to realize that like
we're all the same. And
everybody's going
Why
through
do
the
we
same.
think that there's like people on different levels? Because
Yeah.
we're all
this-
flesh, bone. It's like the same with a house. Like, I get upset about things, but it's really just wood.
Right.
It's just concrete.
Yeah.
It's metal. Like,
Yeah.
we're bone, blood, and like a little bit of flesh.
I don't really
a couple
know.
turds.
Yeah.
Like, that's all we are. But we do it because these. What,
It's these
is it the
limitations.
That's a good question. It could be the media. I think it's also just kind of the thing that, we see people who, and usually it's people that are successful, that have been successful in one way or another. It's like if you were to see Theo Vaughn or if you were to see Brendan Shaw, you'd be like, holy fuck, bro. 'Cause
Shop
they've-
guy.
Yeah.
They've accomplished so much that that maybe we wouldn't see as possible or something like that.
Footnote Shaw real quick, because I want to go back to him, but keep going.
That's pretty much it. No, that's it. I think it's just that we see people who are
Nah,
successful.
I get what you're saying. Is it, how like people always that the cliche things, even might be a Walmart commercial. It's not how people talk to you. They make how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And when people make you laugh, laughing is like the ultimate result of life. I feel like.
Yeah.
Because like you laugh, somebody makes you laugh. It's like, damn, like it's almost like you got me.
Yeah.
But because you break your character, because you know how we play these characters sometimes in certain situations, and somebody gets you to break your character, now all of a sudden you're bonded. It's like, damn, you got me, but like that was a good joke.
Hell
and
yeah.
you use that joke.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't even know what the fuck I was
I
talking
saw fucking Jordan Peterson on Theo Vaughn on this past weekend, and you know Jordan Peterson is.
Absolutely, I've seen that episode.
And he's you did, yeah, and he's always like a normal stoic guy, like very serious. And Theo had this fucking guy going, bro. Talk about breaking character. Yeah, for sure.
And that's awesome. I feel like that's what life is, because I mean, as many times as you can get upset about things, and there's death, there's triumph and everything. Life isn't supposed to be serious.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a very standard. Like, people make it serious. I feel like because there's seriousness, that's where the money's to be made. People, you gotta get your suit on.
No, that's true.
Serious. There's serious money right here.
Sure.
But
sure.
Life is supposed to be, you're supposed to laugh
Yeah.
at life, that's why, it's an Irish funeral, everybody's drinking and laughing, and,
Yeah.
they're celebrating your life, nobody
Right.
gives a shit because you're gone, it's supposed to be celebrated, but it's,
life might be the biggest joke.
It is,
know
right?
what I
You get
mean?
to heaven
It really might
and
be.
Jesus doing a stand-up. He's like, hey, yeah. You just walk in through the back. You get a free drink ticket. Like,
And it's kind of what we were
Only
talking.
one? Even though it's heaven, it's like, come on.
You know, Jesus was Jewish. So he ain't getting
yeah.
any drinks.
That's true.
So,
Oh,
shout
shit.
out the non-Gentiles.
That's a
No, laughter is funny though, because
Jesus
like
Christ.
you force somebody
Is
to you force somebody to like do something with their body, like
and they got no control of it.
Yeah.
yeah, it's really funny.
It's the best, like, with the Kevin Hart thing where he's like, you ever seen Thug laugh?
Oh yeah,
And he's like holding it back.
yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, that makes me die. I even do that sometimes
forgot
when
about that.
my wife makes me laugh because, like, I'm like, oh, she's not supposed to make me laugh, and like, I'll do you stupid.
That's funny. What were you talking about, Brendan?
So with comedy and like, all right, he's a fighter, right? Even Joe Rogan, you can throw him in there, but I feel like, and these guys break the boundaries of. And this is me. This is a personal thing. Because they're like athletic men who do comedy, I feel like it's tougher for them to get laughs.
I think so too.
Do you
Sure.
like kind of
Yeah.
agree? So I was
Brendan talks about he like wears long sleeve shirts
to not show muscle.
Yeah, to
or
not show muscle. Like he hates that he's like such a big dude on stage. Like he doesn't want people to be like afraid of him.
Some,
Yeah, he's
some
got, like, nice
classic,
hair.
some classic comedian made a joke like, I don't want to laugh. Like, I don't. Somebody's
Yeah.
gonna whoop my ass. I
Yeah,
can't remember who
yeah.
it was. Maybe Dave Chappelle. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's the basis of what I'm saying. Is like I actually had the discussion with Vinny and shout out Fragmites, but he I've opened up to him like one night we were fucked up and I was like saying like, man, like, you know, the whole comedy thing, like I'm scared to go up, and it's not just because, you know, I don't have material, it's because I feel like people look at me, you know, stature wise.
Sure.
And I'm not saying like, you know, I'm the stud of the South,
You are.
but
There's a new cowboy in town.
Mudman.
but
Ladies,
no, I feel
social
like-
links are in the description. You know what I'm saying?
He's got no social media though.
That's a good play.
you couldn't get me if you tried.
That's gonna make them want you more.
So, but I think Brendan, like, good-looking cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, the stature. He was a fighter. Like,
Football
I mean,
player.
Yeah, football player. Like, what didn't he do?
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
You look at Rogan. Rogan's kind of like a little, like he's a stocky little.
Yeah,
rock
he's like
guy. You're
5'2".
All right, he's not the. But
He's gonna get us kicked off YouTube.
yeah. So, we gotta censor.
No, it's a joke.
Nah,
Like saying he's a powerful guy.
we do.
I get an email. But so what I was saying back to Shab is just like I feel that sometimes stature and physical attributes, like in comedy, don't
Yeah.
correlate unless you like call it out right away. I don't know.
Right.
No,
No, that makes
that's a really good point, and that probably should be something that you like say or talk about. Like address it right away. Make fun of yourself,
Make fun of
like
yourself,
about that,
yeah.
and then they'll like open up to that. You know?
But, like I have a medium-sized penis. Like don't think that I got a big one because
Yeah, that's
it's
a
tall. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I can rebound, but I'm not the best.
Yeah.
Not the best.
Dude, I'm
passer.
telling you, when I first fucking met you in Jersey, I'm like, dude, this guy is like next level funny, man. You need to fucking.
Everyone
You need to
always-
say yes, Glenn.
I do.
Everyone
Yeah,
always
I'm-
thought that about Glenn, like, and you know, I've told Brad how we used to dissect jokes. Like, we would take one joke and we would go back and forth, just like we were talking about with the other thing, and just squeeze it till there's nothing
Yeah.
left. And
Break
like,
it down.
your mind for comedy, like you are like that in the sense of what we were saying about Theo's, like that uniqueness. Like, you don't attack a joke the same way that everyone else. You have Glenn's specific way of how you think about it.
I appreciate that.
No, and it's
Yeah.
real, and that's why I really want you to just fucking go like try that. And you know, I'm not speaking as if I'm like this is something that I've wanted to do a long time, and it took me a lot to get to this point. But now I'm at the point where I'm just like, I'm giving it everything that I have, and I know that with my full
But
like
are you?
yeah.
No, I know you are. You can tell by
With
No,
no-
that's actually a good question.
With
Are you?
Yeah, I think
You think
I
you
am.
are?
Yeah, with no like insecurity, because if I would have, when we tried to do it, I wouldn't have opened up the way that I've opened up on like episodes that we've done. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't there yet. Like I just couldn't put myself out there like that I can now. And
The ego. Do you think that goes back to the ego?
I'm
like
sure
telling you like, hey man, like
Yeah.
hold it back because people still need to be curious about you. Like you
I'm,
gotta.
I'm sure that was a huge part of it, and insecurities of just like, oh well, like I don't want to talk about that, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like if you like really went after that, and maybe not even on the stage, just from like recording. Like I listened to when you did the podcast by yourself, and like it put me in that room with you of like listening to those jokes, and I would like cackle to myself, like, and I'm sure other people did too.
Yeah, well, that makes me feel good. I mean,
Has nobody ever told you that before?
I mean, no, not really.
No?
I mean, it
That
was
fucking
like,
sucks.
like,
Well, I'm telling you now, motherfucker.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna cheers to that.
Yeah.
Duct Tape Julio. Shout out.
No,
you
seriously.
got a name for this yet?
Seriously
Duct
though,
Tape
bro,
Bourbon?
you're like I really feel like you are next level funny. It's the kind of thing where it doesn't feel forced. Like even when we were out there on the fucking patio, like you just, I don't know.
Though this is the stage.
You'll be doing yourself a disservice if you
what
don't.
it will be is like
You will be.
cross promotion of like, if you say like something really funny, it'd be like we can make inside jokes because the podcast that I watch, that's so funny. Did you see that? Yeah, the podcast that I watch, they do jokes in between podcasts about each other and stuff, and it gets back to each other, and if we were able to do something like that, that would be funny as fuck.
We should do a roast episode where we just roast each other.
Dude,
because
that would be so funny.
you just sit in the chair. It's like a minute. But it also popped into my head. What if there was some type of comedy club, right? You had 2 sets. And this is for almost like entertainers, the people who can do the comedy and the people who could write the comedy.
Okay.
Like you say you're a good writer.
Sure.
Correct, right?
I think.
Maybe you could perform.
Well, that's what what a lot of the roast is.
Shut up.
Let him bring this point up.
Yeah,
bring this
before
point
I
home.
lose it, okay?
Right.
No, I love it. So, now I fucked
Now
up.
I
So
lost
now,
it.
no, okay, so you got the comedy, you got the comedians, and you got the writers. Say there was like some night where the writers would come in, write a 3-minute bit.
Yeah.
Or just a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be, maybe a page. What you do is just like the hat, you fold it up, you throw it in there. So you got like 15 people come write and write a scene. And then you got comedians who come in, open mics. They don't get to see what they pick, and they pick it out of a hat. Your name gets called randomly. Name gets picked out of a hat. Okay, Brad, we got you the stage. Come up here, pick it out of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
You pick out
Right.
a bit. And you have to do it as a comedian. This way, everybody's at fault if it goes wrong.
Yeah. And then he doesn't feel the pressure because he's like, I didn't fucking write that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But also, at the end of it, there'll be some type of what's a good word for
interaction?
Interaction, yeah. To where you meet with the writer.
Right.
And it's kind of like a funny thing. Now you have a drink at the bar and you're talking and you go, this is what I struggled with your writing. But this is what I thought was good.
Oh, okay.
So now you got the comedian and the writer, and then also it becomes like something. I feel like because a lot of comedians, they do write their own shit, but if you're paired with somebody else, like split the cash if that's what the gig is for.
Right.
That sounds
And
like
you
a
can
really
both-
cool
That's
concept.
actually really cool concept.
Nobody fucking steal it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh man.